Welcome to the Diaspora Show with me, DJ Kadero. What's going on? What's going on? It is Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. It's the last day of the week. Last day of the week. Last day of the month, guys. Huh? For those that don't already know, this is how the Diaspora Show works. First, I give you guys the top stories going on in Africa, the Caribbean, and anywhere else that the African diaspora is centered. That's the Diaspora News. Then I give you guys words of wisdom through the African proverb of the day. Words of wisdom of the African proverb. Looking at words of wisdom either through a life lesson or an affirmation. Again, that's the African proverb of the day. After that, I get busy giving you guys the best harmonies, the best melodies, the best beats. I am the baddest DJ in the game, huh? And today is no different. It's Tuesday. That means it's Top 10 Tuesday, where I will be counting down with you guys the top 10 Afrobeat hits of the week. How does that sound? Does that sound good? Is that okay, Omega? Well, if it's okay and you're okay with it, because I'm okay with it, we can move on. Let's go to the Diaspora News. Come on!
Live from 879 Studios in Omaha, Nebraska, this is Diaspora News with your anchor, DJ Kadero.
That's me. Let's get into it. What up? Excellent. Excellent, 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 excellent. Woo! Bum, 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 bum. What's going on, DJ Kadero? I'm your anchor here on the Diaspora News. That's on the Diaspora Show on 87.9 The Culture, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives. It is 5 minutes past the hour of whatever time zone that you're in. In the central time zone is 10 a.m., so it's 10:05. Hey, how was your guys' night? Did you sleep well for those that are just waking up? Did you have a good day for those that are just getting into the evening hours? I slept well. When I got to sleep finally, it took me a while to fall asleep, but it's probably because I was anxious. Today is June 30th. It's the last day of the month. Did you accomplish your goals, Omada? Joadwa, did you take care of anything that was on your to-do list? Or did you let this month pass you by? Huh? If you want to get in the conversation today and any of our other days, in the group chat tab in the app, go ahead and click on the group chat tab, follow the process, and it will allow you to create a username and password so that way you can chat in the live group chat. That's right. Not just for this show, but any of our other programs throughout the week. Let's see if anybody is greeting us. Lita is greeting us. Lita says, "What up, Kadero? What up, Lita?" What's up, Lita? What up? What up? What up? What up? You guys also know that June 30th is the start, or it's the beginning, it's the end of the month, but it's going to be the start of something nice, especially tomorrow. I believe tomorrow, don't quote me on this, but I believe July 1st is Somalia's Independence Day. So just to give you a heads up, July is the month of many African Independence Days, but starting off with Somalia, I believe Somalia is July 1st. Yeah, don't quote. You know what? If I'm wrong, you can let me know in the chat. All right. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into the top stories. It's June 30th. That means that there was a deadline, a looming deadline in South Africa for African immigrants. So we're going into the highly controversial anti-immigration protests, as well as looking at the aftermath of the earthquakes the dual earthquakes that had happened and taken place in Venezuela. So let's go ahead and start in South Africa. We begin with a developing and deeply concerning situation in this country in the Southern African region. Today, Tuesday, June 30th, marks an unofficial and highly controversial deadline by anti-immigration vigilante groups. Over the last month, well, pretty much of 2026, these groups have used social media to demand that all undocumented and documented nationals leave the country today or face forced evictions. For more on this, we go on the ground to what seems to be a chaotic situation. Let's take a listen.
Scores of Soweto residents took to the streets to voice their concerns over what they describe as an influx of undocumented foreign nationals in the township. Residents claim undocumented migrants are contributing to rising levels of crime and illegal activities in their communities. They say they want government to address their concerns and have called for undocumented foreign nationals to leave by the 30th of June.
We are here to the march in order that we want them to go back to their countries.
The whole immigration ecosystem needs to change because we cannot afford a country where everybody can just come in. And the country and the leadership has taken a laissez-faire attitude when it comes to, making sure that laws of this country are being obeyed.
Activist in Kosikona Ndaba, who was at the forefront of the march, says government must respond to residents' concerns by tightening border security and addressing undocumented immigration.
All this thuggery and drugs and all these illegal trades must be gone. So we want the government to respond to the call. These people can't be crazy. They can. These are men and women who had houses, who work. These are professionals. These are doctors. These are teachers. These are business people. They are not crazy. They are saying to the government, fix this problem of illegal immigrants. We will continue to be peaceful. We will continue to respect our police. We will continue to respect everyone, respect our leaders. That's why you will never hear us calling for a leader to leave his position. We are saying, our leaders, please, we are South Africans. We voted you. We put you up into those positions. Please listen to us.
Meanwhile, at the Malawian consulate in Woodmead, hundreds of Malawian nationals gathered to board buses back to their home country. Mike Luhana, who has lived in South Africa since 2011, says he has decided to leave amid fears for his safety.
With the news that's circulating the social media and the deadline that have been given, we thought, no, we should go back home because we don't know what will happen from today moving forward. So I want to go home. I want to go in peace. I'm scared because, people have been chased from their homes. Others here that have been killed, especially in Durban. So I need to reunite with my family. I want to see my people there. So I cannot stand waiting for this to happen while I'm still here. I better go back home.
As the countdown continues towards planned marches and demonstrations across the country, police say they will have officers deployed to ensure public safety and calm is maintained. Sasha Naidu, SABC News, Johannesburg.
If you're just joining in, I am DJ Kadero, your anchor on the Diaspora News, on the Diaspora Show, exclusively on 87.9 The Culture, where the culture of hip-hop and R&B lives. It's Tuesday, Top 10 Tuesday, on June 30th, 2026. We're getting into our top stories going on in Africa, the Caribbean, and our first story is the deadline in South Africa for immigrants, documented and undocumented, has arrived. The news clip that you just heard was from Soweto, where citizens have been marching over immigration, what they call illegal immigration. Right now, in major cities like Johannesburg, Pretoria, and Durban, local shopkeepers have kept their doors locked out of caution. Foreign workers are staying home out of the fear for their safety, and the atmosphere is incredibly intense. Thousands of immigrants, predominantly from neighboring Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Mozambique, have already fled the country over the last few weeks. Many others are currently packed into their respective embassies. Imagine an embassy building begging for emergency repatriation, aka a return home, and basic supplies. Human rights organizations have condemned the threats of violence against those immigrants who do not leave South Africa. They note that the deadline has created a false climate of lawlessness and targeting vulnerable street vendors and small business owners. While the South African government have firmly stated that this deadline holds absolutely no official legal merit, they're taking no chances. Now, you might be wondering, what's the deal? How did this get this bad? How did citizens, ordinary everyday citizens, come to a point where they're giving other human beings, other Africans who look just like them, a deadline to leave the country? So let's take a look at what's behind the South African anti-immigrant protests that are happening today.
Thousands of foreigners are fleeing South Africa as anti-immigrant sentiment surges.
I'm crying because I'm leaving the small children.
But why do some South Africans want undocumented foreigners out? There have been protests against foreigners, and vigilantes have attacked migrants, even if they have legal status, in recent months. Anti-foreigner groups say South Africa is overrun with illegal immigrants who take jobs, use up scarce public services, and are responsible for high crime rates. A Human Sciences Research Council poll showed 42% of South Africans would welcome no foreigners, up from a third in 2021. In an Afrobarometer survey, 7 out of 10 South Africans said they see immigrants' economic impact as negative, with an overwhelming 85% saying authorities should cut the number of refugees or stop them. A National Statistics Office survey in 2023 showed there were 3.1 million migrants in South Africa, equivalent to about 4.1% of the population, down from 5.6% a decade ago. Although anti-immigrant campaigners say that does not account for people without legal status, it is low by international standards. In Britain, it's 17%, Canada 22%, and Australia 30%, according to 2024 UN data. Here's political analyst Zolani Dube.
Here, the scapegoats are the immigrants, and especially the African immigrants. Because in South Africa is a country of immigrants of all sorts of race. We have Muslims, we have Indians, we have Caucasians. But the targets here are those who are powerless and are those who are accessible to us, of which are the African immigrants.
Health and education services are struggling across South Africa, but that is mostly due to underinvestment and corruption, say economists. A World Bank report from 2018 also showed that for every migrant employed, about 2 jobs are created for South Africans through business activity, because they make money and spend it on goods and services. Historically, the apartheid government used migrant labour from all over Africa to keep wages low in gold mines and undermine unions. Now a third of people are out of work, one of the world's highest unemployment rates. Inequality is the highest in the world by some measures. That fuels anger that is easy to direct onto migrants. Politicians also stoke it around election time. The government says it condemns the violence against immigrants. But South Africa's leaders have been criticised by other African states and civil society for failing to stamp out the violence.
Once again, if you're just joining in, I'm DJ Kadero, your anchor on the Diaspora News. That's on the Diaspora Show on 87.9 The Culture. It's Tuesday, Top 10 Tuesday on June 30th, 2026. We're getting into our first top story. South Africa's anti-immigrant protests have kicked off. This is also the deadline that South Africans gave to immigrants in the country to leave or otherwise forcefully be removed from the country. Again, the South African police and the national defense, imagine the military, have deployed ground units and armed vehicles and helicopters across multiple provinces in the country of South Africa. They also say that we encourage all South Africans to practice calm, but we urge all of our listeners on the ground to stay indoors and avoid crowded city centers and monitor any verified local news reports. Let me know what your guys' first thoughts are. Again, this is quite a sad situation. South Africa's anti-immigration protests have kicked off. And again, this is the deadline that we had talked about since May. Let's go to our second story. We go to Latin America, Central America, and we're turning our eyes from the Atlantic. All right, a devastating humanitarian crisis continues to unfold in Venezuela following last week's twin earthquakes. The official government updates confirmed this morning that the death toll has climbed to a tragic 1,719 people, and over 5,000 more are injured, and nearly 16,000 families have been left completely homeless. The catastrophic 7.2 and 7.5 earthquakes on the Richter scale struck in succession, causing high-rise structures to completely fall on people in the capital city of Caracas and in the coastal city of La Guaira. Entire neighborhoods built on steep hillsides suffered massive mudslides, burying homes underneath tons of earth. And although the 72-hour rescue window has officially closed, emergency workers are refusing to give up. For more on this, we go to our affiliate, CBS Miami, where they have more on the aftermath of these powerful, deadly earthquakes in Venezuela. Let's take it away, CBS.
Now to the deadly earthquakes in Venezuela. New drone video this afternoon shows the scale of destruction after 2 earthquakes hit last week. Dozens of buildings were leveled, and an entire coastal city is now filled with piles of rubble. More than 1,400 people are now confirmed dead, and tens of thousands are missing. CBS News Miami's Camila Montoya Galvez has the latest from Venezuela.
We saw scenes of utter devastation in hard-hit La Guaira after 2 deadly earthquakes struck Venezuela last week. In the rubble, you could see remnants of people's lives, stuffed animals, a passport, and a kindergarten graduation diploma. Tens of thousands of Venezuelans are still presumed to be missing, and the clock is ticking.
You're seeing scores of people and rescue workers from across the globe desperately looking for any signs of life.
Some even digging with their bare hands. In Caracas, outside of a hospital, we saw loved ones scouring lists of patients, looking for any missing relatives. Genesis Fonseca was there bringing soup to her 6-year-old nephew, Maximiliano, who survived the quakes, while his mother did not.
What is it that you will miss the most about your sister?
Hay todo. Su cariño, el amor que nos teníamos.
Everything. The love we had for one another, she told us. Amid the tragedy, moments of hope. Like this one, a man pulled out alive by rescue teams. And an infant, trapped for days, also found alive. On Saturday, Kayla Serpa's nephew Kenger was also rescued. Serpa told us her 2 nephews and sister lived in a building that came crashing down. 11-year-old Kenger was the sole survivor. Serpa had a message for the U.S. We need more support, she says. More help. U.S. diplomat John Barrett says there are over 300 American rescuers on the ground.
We were with Venezuela before the earthquake, and we're even closer to Venezuela after the earthquake.
The pain and loss we have seen here in La Guaira is impossible to quantify. We've heard from people who've lost their homes, their children, their spouses, and their siblings. But there are still signs of hope. Just this morning, in this destroyed building behind us, volunteers heard the cries of a woman, and they're now trying to see if they can rescue her alive. Camila Montoya Galvez, CBS News.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, I'm DJ Kadero, your anchor on the Diaspora News on the Diaspora Show on 879 The Culture. We're getting into our second story of our top stories going on in Africa and the Caribbean and anywhere else that the African diaspora is centered. Our second story deals with the emergency situation going on in Venezuela after last week's twin earthquakes. In the chat, Lita says, in reference to the first story on the South African immigrant deadline, I understand that it's making it difficult for that country to house the immigrants, but what are these people going to do, and where do they go? Exactly. Lita also says, oh my gosh, that's such a sad story about the earthquake. Tough. So rescue teams from not just the U.S., as you guys heard in that news clip, but from 27 different countries, including specialized international K9 units, that are still digging through more than millions of tons of debris. And they're responding to tapping sounds and muffled cries buried deep within the rubble. The infrastructure damage is severe. Hospitals are running on backup generators and clean water pipelines have bursted. Main highways have cracked wide open, blocking aid trucks. UNICEF estimates that over a million people, including 700,000 children, are now in desperate need of immediate clean water, food, and shelter. If you have any information to help out the Venezuelan people, let us know, especially in the chat. If you have my personal line, let me know so I can put the information out there. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Again, if you have any information on resources for the people of Venezuela, please let us know. Let's get into our third and a little bit more calm and uplifting story here. Deals with the World Cup. All right. History is being written today at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So we are at the knockout stage. Again, it's round 2 of what the NBA playoffs would be. This is the stage where you lose a game and that's it. No more games to be played for no more points. And it's delivering absolute chaos. Yesterday, Germany, Germany was knocked out, as well as Japan, after Germany played their game and then Japan played against Brazil. But let's focus on today. At 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, Ivory Coast will take on Norway. This is a big test. The first time in history that the Ivory Coast has ever reached the World Cup knockout stages. The team finished second in their group after a spectacular win against South Korea. And they're carrying the hopes of millions today alongside 8 other African nations who made it to the knockout stages. And this will be a tough match for Ivory Coast because Norway's manager strategically rested their superstar striker from Manchester City, Erling Haaland. You see, Norway played against France last week and sat out most of their starters. So this keeps most of them pretty fresh. Haaland already has 4 goals in the tournament. Now it's just in the group stages. And he's hunting for the Golden Boot, the award for the MVP of the entire tournament. The stakes could not be higher. The winner of today's historic clash between Norway and Ivory Coast will advance to face the 5-time world champions Brazil in the round of 16. Let us know what your predictions are, huh? As far as my predictions, man, I'm going to go with Africa here. Not just because I'm biased, but just because anything can happen, especially on any given day. I mean, we just saw that Germany lost in penalty kicks. So I'm even with whatever. Oh, they sat out their starters last game for Norway. Ivory Coast has still got this. We're talking about the AFCON champions of 2 years ago. So they still got it in them. All right. I hit you guys with a lot of heavy news, man. I'm not going to lie. Even for me, especially South Africa and their shenanigans. Let's just call it what it is. It's shenanigans. How about this? I give you guys a break. Time for you guys to maybe fold that laundry. Maybe if you guys live in apartments, go and get your clothes out of the washer. Put it in the dryer, huh? Make yourself something to eat. Make yourself something to drink. And then when we come back, we'll have the African proverb of the day, as well as we'll start our Top 10 Tuesday, where we count down our top 10 Afrobeat hits of the week. I'm DJ Kadero. This is your music break, and it's brought to you by Odile. You probably have heard this song if you're on African social media heavy, whether it's TikTok or Instagram. This is a song that they do a lot of dances to. So this is your music break again by this artist's name, Odile. That's O-D-E-A-L. Again, O-D-E-A-L. And the song is called So-So. S-O-H space S-O-H. I'm DJ Kadero. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is the Diaspora Show on 87.9 The Culture.